Hi guys, and welcome back to cfctvyt. My name is Michelle.
My name is Nina, and welcome back to Carefree Queens, guys. It's been a hot minute since we've filmed an episode, but we are back. We are ready to fire some content at you. Although not much has really happened with our club this season, I feel like so much has happened. You know, we've been through it all. We've been through the roller coasters. We've been through the transfer window. We've been through the sacking of managers, and we seem to be nowhere really. We seem to be taken so many steps forwards but taken twice as many backwards. So it just feels like we find ourselves in this pit, but there are things to be hopeful for. I feel like I've repeated this so many times this season, but here I am. I'm still looking ahead to the future and still looking forward. So, Michelle, in our last episode, we were talking about the speculation of Pochettino coming in. Now that seems to be a lot more real. It's not been officially announced by the club, but it's said to be a lot closer to happening, and Pochettino seems to be the best fit from now. So he will be taking over Chelsea in the forthcoming summer. He will be taking over the long-term project, which Graham Potter failed to prosper. So he seems to be the man that will sort us out, that will get us out of this mess, and will hopefully get us to play football again, because we've not been playing football. We seem to have forgotten how we have taken beatings and thrashings from too many teams this season. So honestly, are you at least like feeling a little bit more hopeful for next season? Because like, let's be real, this season's done now. We've got 3 games. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but 3 games and it's done. So we're looking ahead now, really. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I've said this a million times, and people probably know my answer by now, but I don't want to hope for anything I haven't seen yet. I want to see it happen before I get too hopeful, even though when we win, I get a bit delusional. I will be honest with you, like, what the fuck? But no, I wanna see consistency before I get hopeful. Too hopeful, at least.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. What about you?
No, I get that's completely fair. I think because I was even excited back in, last summer. I was excited the summer before, and it almost seems like like you said, it's exciting leading up, buying all the great players we did in the January transfer window, speculating who's coming, who's going in summer as well. And you're always just sort of instilled with hope. But I feel like, I was skeptical about Pochettino to start with, but now that I'm, seeing a lot more, we've obviously been revealed what his plans are in terms of which players he kind of excuse me, wants to keep, wants to sell, who he wants to build a future around. We know he likes his youngsters. He likes to work with young, raw talent, and we have a lot of that. We now have some of the best youngsters out there in the world who are just crying to be worked with an experienced manager and that lead and that central figure there. And of course, he's going to want his own terms. He works in his own style. Perhaps we'll see Todd Bowley take a step back, which I think is necessary, because I think he's been far too involved in the wrong ways, and it has often resulted in unhappiness, on behalf of the fans, the players, the backroom staff. So we need to find a new system, not just on the pitch, but just in the club as a whole. So from that aspect, yeah, I am looking forward to it, because we're still attempting to start the rebuild, I truly believe it starts now. It starts in summer. It was supposed to start last year with the takeover of ownership, but we experienced far too many challenges then. So yeah, I hear you on that. You want to see some results, you want to see some performances and things change, but I guess we'll be waiting until, upcoming summer for that, which is not that long away. We're nearly done with May. We look ahead to Man City tomorrow, Michelle. Goal. But we have seen Man City play some absolutely crazy football this week.
Yeah.
So I am not waking up tomorrow with any expectations. I just pray to the Lord it's not more than 4 again. But what is your thought on that? Can we let in less than 4 potentially?
Shit, I don't know. I think it depends. because I know what match you're thinking about, and I mean, it was an all or nothing match for them.
Mm.
So I don't know if they're gonna be as aggressive towards us. But I mean, look at it this way: they just have to win. They don't have to, secure. How do I put this? They absolutely needed to murder Real Madrid in order for them to move on in the tournament. But here they just need to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they're
Yeah,
gonna.
but they need to win and they win the title. So it kind of isn't a
Yeah,
of
but I mean,
everything.
3 points are still 3 points. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, they could just score one goal and then hang out for the last 90 minutes. Like, I know they're not gonna do it, but I doubt it's gonna be 4.
Michelle, let me remind you that Haaland is still hungry because Haaland did not eat on Wednesday. He did not eat
You think
against
they're
Real
gonna
Madrid.
score 4 goals on us?
I don't know if he'll score 4 goals, but all I'm saying is Haaland did not eat his dinner on Wednesday. You know, he had every single other player eat for him, and that just goes to show that to think that Man City absolutely thrashed a Real Madrid, reigning Champions League kings more times than anyone, up against a team that has never won it. And they made them look like the most dead average team in the world. And it wasn't
Yeah,
because of
you're
how
right.
bad Real Madrid was. It was because of how good Man City was. You know, the football they played and the squad depth they had. Like I said, Haaland wasn't anywhere on the score sheet. Alvarez came on, a substitution, like a super sub. The squad depth they have to get goals and to score is absolutely
That was insane.
astonishing.
That's
The
absolutely
way
insane.
they move the ball.
Don't get me
So
wrong.
that
I
scares me.
think they do want to score on us. Like, don't get me wrong. They're absolutely gonna
Mm.
go for a win, go for the goals. But I just, you do remember back in the days when we were a bit aside and we were playing smaller teams.
Mm.
And quite frankly, we are the smaller team now, so they're not gonna waste bigger players on us. Do you know what I mean? Or they might, but
Mm.
that's just my point of view. That I don't know.
I get you.
If I
Like
was,
they're there to win. Obviously, Pep said, you know, that's one of the most important games because even
yeah,
though it looks like you've won it, you've still got to play that game, and that game is just so important, you know. And there's going to be a lot of Chelsea fans not complaining that Man City are beating us tomorrow. You know, I don't want to say it that way, but that's the reality of it. You know, we know we're going to lose, but at
yeah,
least, you know, at least on the bright side, there is still things to smile about. So when you weigh it up that way, you know, I've never really been that sort of fan that wants, you know, another team to beat us because of a certain other reason. But at the end of the day, when you know you're going to lose, then you kind of just have that debate there. But I
yeah,
get what you mean. You know, Pep isn't going to be underestimating us, obviously, just because he knows he's got to take the game seriously anyway. How serious his players are taking it, you know, they're thinking, oh, we're going up against Chelsea. But yeah, honestly, any side has struggled against Man City. We've seen it. When you weigh up, I know the Champions League is very different from the Premier League, but even still, you can take certain comparisons and compare. But,
absolutely.
you know, we've got many injuries. I think Pep said that, you know, they've got a fully fit squad. We don't. And realistically, even our fittest squad has struggled this season. So there is really no hope. It's just about what we can do, what we can
Yeah,
play. Obviously, we know that players like Lewis Hall is going to get playing time. He's already had a good spell at, you know, at the Etihad, I believe, when he played that
yeah,
really good game.
absolutely.
And he was important for us. He also had a good game against Newcastle when we lost 1-0 sort of back in winter. And, you know, fair enough. He's got to get the playing time. So if anything, I'm just excited to see the youngsters get some playing time, get some minutes. At the end of the day, you've got to go up against the best, you know. So to play, to get experience, to learn, and to improve, you've got to go against the big dogs. And you know, Man City is as big as it
We
gets.
just it's so like we used to be one of them. And now we're
Oh,
like, oh, like we need to take on the bigger clubs. We're
mate, we're
just
not taking Man City on for
malice.
a while.
Oh my days!
No
Like,
one
how
is.
bad is that? But no, I completely get you with the Lewis part. I was there when we played them in Cabal Cup, our first and only match in that tournament. But Lewis looked like the only one who actually cared.
Mm.
Lewis was the only one who seemed to actually want to put up a fight against this absolutely, like, how do you even this massive side, because they are quite. I think they're gonna win the Champions League, and that's just. I hate to say it, but like you said, they're just too good. They make it look too easy, but Lewis actually wanted it to put in a fight against
Mhm.
this ridiculously good side. So I think it's good to give him a few minutes. I was really happy to see him play last fixture, because he deserves it. I think he deserves it as much as Madueke deserves it, and
Mhm.
he started.
I
That's
agree
just
with you.
so no, I agree 100%. It's going to be one of the few positives to see the youngsters play.
Absolutely. And Lewis Hall is quite a versatile player, you know, for his age and his kind of inexperience, if I can say. He already seems like he can occupy, you know, a midfield role. He can occupy a left back, sort of left wing back role, and he can be involved as well in build up. He's very physical as well. He's very well built, and he does look forwards more than he looks back. And for the little time and minutes he's been given and the little opportunity he's been given to shine this season, I think he's taken it well. So, of course, now we know with Chile and Cucurella obviously out, he's got to step up, and that's kind of how you become a good footballer. It's the moments where you step in, you know, for the regular starters, for the veterans, and for those senior players. That's where you really learn, and that's where you really grow. So what better way to do it? You know, it's kind of almost, you can say, a blessing in disguise, because Lewis Hall is getting nowhere near any lineup if we have a fully fit Chile and, you know, a fit Cucurella as well, and that just speaks for itself. So I know Badiashile is out. He sustained a groin injury in training. So again, we're turning our heads towards the medical staff at Chelsea. What is going on? You know, Badiashile has already been deprived of many games that he could have played and started because Frank didn't pick him. But now he really can't be picked. So again, like, that would have been a fantastic game for him to go up against, you know, the best forwards in the Prem, to have a go at, you know, closing them down. And he won't get that opportunity. But hopefully, like I said, in the forthcoming future, we know Badiashile is here to stay. He will get the playing time he deserves. I'm sure Pochettino will be able to bring the best out of him as well and make him a regular backbone of our defensive line, because that's what he is. He is Chelsea's future. Equally, I dare say Wesley Fofana as well, equally up there. So we need to start looking at the players that are here to stay. Like you and me and Michelle, we've been advocating for them to play all season, haven't we? Even back before we lost every single Premier League game, we were advocating for them to start, because at the end of the day, a new player, a new arrival from a young age who hasn't experienced playing in the Premier League and hasn't played at the top level needs to play. The only way they will learn to play is to literally play. And there's nothing to fear from. I know Frankie has held back with a lot of his lineups because he fears letting in and conceding too many goals. So he's kind of limited himself to experimenting with the squad too much and just playing the so-called experienced players. But no, that is out the window. We're playing Man City, United and Newcastle to end the season on a bright note. So just play the youngsters. Honestly, us fans will not be upset, because all we want to see is just some excitement and just to see glimpses of what we're looking at in the future. I'm sure Pochettino wants to see them play as well. He's looking to see how they fit and how he can, you know, improve them and get the best out of them. So we're well and truly, all I'm hoping for is to see them in the starting lineups tomorrow and for the rest of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I mean, you might as well experiment. You might as well give the players a chance, because isn't the outcome just going to be the same either way? If not even better, because these young
Absolutely.
players are hungry after all. Yeah, hell yeah, go for it. Experiment. Um, we have 3 games left. Like, come on. And we won't. I don't see us find 3 points in any of these games. So we might as well just learn
Absolutely.
from our squad.
But we're going to influence the title race. So, you know, I guess that's one job from us there. But hey, you know, sometimes when you're going through a tough time, you got to take happiness from, you know, what's going on at other clubs, because we've been deprived of happiness all season. We can deprive some other clubs, not naming anyone specific, from some happiness too. But yeah, no, that's the truth. And yeah, like I said, I refrain from watching Frank Lampard's conferences. Obviously, I love the guy, I have the most respect for him, Chelsea legend forever. But as a manager, speaking in conferences, he just doesn't sound like someone who knows, you know, where the club is at, what direction it's taking, because there really isn't a direction at the moment. And obviously, like I said, he's got 3 more games in charge. I'm sure he'll make the most of them, I guess, as a manager. I know he loves the club and I know he is having the club's best interest at heart. At heart. Sorry, I nearly started crying there. But it's been hard to see him have an impact, you know, on the pitch, on the players, on even anyone individually. And of course, it's not just him to blame. It wasn't even ever just Graham Potter's fault either. It's always been a combination of the manager and the players all season, because some of our players, let's be real, they haven't showed passion, they haven't showed desire, they haven't showed effort. And yeah, of course, there's an argument to what extent can we blame them. But equally, if you're getting paid like in a literal job, like forget it's a footballer, you get paid to work. So from you're expected to put effort in, right? To try to produce something. So you've still got to follow that formula at the end of the day. If you're getting paid, go out on the pitch and play. That hasn't happened all season. But anyway, back to my point. Frank Lampard said in the conference something about you can have a game plan, but if there isn't intensity and motivation to execute that game plan, it's useless. So what I'm inferring from that is that Frank has tried to implement some sort of game plan, even though we haven't really been able to see it. Nevertheless, he has apparently tried to implement some sort of game plan, but he's kind of put the blame on certain players, saying, oh, well, they don't really have the motivation, so you can't really have a game plan and expect it to be, succeeded if players aren't up for it. So for me, it looks like Frank has been deflated as well, working at Chelsea Football Club. So yeah, I don't think change stops here. I genuinely thought this season is where we stop seeing change, where we stick with one manager, where we stick with the players that we've brought in for 6, 7, 8 years, and that change is going to be happening less often, because you can't really have consistency, like you said, Michelle, when things change so often, because it's just life. You know, you've got to stick with a little bit of consistency. Every single department in the club has gone through change. You know, you've got your backroom staff, you've got the groundsmen, those that are taking care of the pitch, you've got the board, you've got, you know, medical staff. Everything has changed all season. It's hard to have a club that is gelled together and is, you know, is cohesive. It's been far from that. So honestly, I feel like we're about to go through a lot more change, and obviously we're going to see and release players. That's the first starting point there. So we're about to go through a lot more change than we actually thought. So we've had to almost put our long-term project on hold this season, haven't we? Because we're still yet to press play.
Yeah, no, and I think it's much more than the problem between working together with the coach and the coach working with the players. It's the whole thing. We have a completely new. Honestly, we have a completely new club, because ownership, like you said, everything's just been changed, and that just doesn't. Though we wish that it would happen overnight, but it just doesn't. And yeah, it goes way deeper than just a problem between the manager and the players. So we just, honestly, in that aspect, I've gotten a bit more hopeful. I don't know if that's the right word, but we can't do anything about it, so we might as well just pray for the best, to be honest. Yeah.
Everybody in the comments put a prayer in for Chelsea Football Club, because we need all the prayers we can get. Light a candle, do what you need to do. But yeah, like I said, we're going to need a lot more than prayers, Michelle, that's for sure, over summer. But yeah, back to just quickly reflect on what I said on selling and releasing players. That's the first and foremost thing we need to do. Honestly, offloading players, selling players, homegrown players, sending some out on loan, whatever we need to do, it's got to be done, because we need to have a clear group of players who will be regular starters or who will be rotated throughout the season. And I don't mean having mad rotations like Graham Potter rotated, and I mean sensible rotations which make sense. And obviously we're relying on Pochettino to figure that one out, but we've already seen that Ruben Loftus-Cheek is in negotiations with the clubs. I've heard, AC Milan are on the table. I've heard even West Ham, I think, have shown interest towards him. And in my head, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is still young because obviously he's our little, Chelsea boy, but he's 27. He's 27 or 28. So, he is kind of in that moment of his career where, of course, like he needs to move on and see what else he can get out of it. If he can go to AC Milan, then he'll reunite with some of his dear friends there as well, former Chelsea players. But he's someone that deserves credit because he's been there in certain moments. He's been involved. He's been a good squad player. He's physical. He's quite technically gifted as well. He can take on players, pass through a few. He's, another versatile player who's played in midfield. He's played in wing back positions, and he's been there for us when we've needed him. Of course, we've seen him sustain an injury as well, which saw him kind of put a hold on his Chelsea career there at a time. But I feel like it is time to say goodbye to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Again, we need to get rid of homegrown players. We need to be selling a lot of them in summer. But like I said, that's just another squad position that's just being taken up, and it's ready for him to go. And hopefully we can make some money out of him because, like I said, he is a decent player. If he stays in the Prem, then I think he can do bits. He's someone that is very well suited for the Premier League. So yeah, that seems like a first starting point. But honestly, I'm not interested in who we're getting right now immediately. My priority is who we let go because there is just far too many. There is a long, extensive list on them, Michelle, and we need to sell them, don't we?
Yeah, quite frankly. I mean, that's what you get when you bring in too many players.
There's the door. There's the door.
Oh yeah, we've just been some need to go because we can do literally 3 squats and they're all looking quite decent.
And most of them don't even know each other's names, I don't think.
What?
I can imagine them going into training and going, "Oh, what's your name? What was his name again? Sorry." Like, when you start school and you're in a new class and you're kind of learning everyone's names, because that's pretty much how it is, because us Chelsea fans, we kind of look at who comes in, we've bought so-and-so, and we do our research on the players and we know exactly who they are, what club they've been at, their goal and assist record or their statistics, and we kind of, are well informed in that aspect. But if you think about it, a Chelsea player welcomes a new player and they're having to kind of get to know them from scratch. And it's like, well, tomorrow we've got to go out and get 3 points. Can you pass to me? Can we 1-2? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No, like we need time for them players that are going to gel together to do that with Pochettino. Hopefully we can finally be on a road and on the right track. And that's it. I guess that's a good way to leave it. I mean, yeah. It's in God's hands now. Well, it's in Pochettino's, but
There you have it, guys. Yeah, there's not much else to be said, is there?
No.
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 No, but thank you for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, comment if you have anything you want to add to the episode, subscribe to the channel, and I will make sure Nina's and my Instagram is linked in the bio.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching.
Cheers.